Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri. On today's show, we will meet Rutuja Achalare, the founder of Ecoville, an art and nature centric startup based on an urban farm in Pune. Inspired by her family's business in land development projects, she did her MBA in real estate from New York, where she also worked as a real estate analyst for the city's largest healthcare provider. Rutuja has demonstrated her intellect and grit in multiple real estate projects while building a strong base for her dream project, which is keeping her busy these days, called the Ecoville. Dance, especially Bharatnatyam, is an integral part of her life with over 25 years of training and practice. An adventurer and explorer at heart, Rutuja has participated in a multitude of adventure sports and is now training for her first triathlon. Welcome, Rutuja, to this episode of Wings Podcast.
Thank you so much, Milind. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and thank you for inviting me on your show as well.
So, Ecoville is a place where every time I leave from Pune and drive down to Mumbai city, on the outskirts of Pune, I know Ecoville exists, and I have always had the temptation to drop by. Never knew who was the person behind this project and whose idea was it, because I've heard a lot about Ecoville. So why don't we begin this conversation, Rutuja, on this dream project of yours, which is keeping you busy these days, called the Ecoville Urban Farm.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Milind. We would love to have you over. So please plan a trip to Ecoville soon.
Sure.
So to tell you more about Ecoville basically, as the word means, it's an environment-friendly village. So everything that we do on the farm is very, very sustainable, very organic, very traditional style, and we believe in a lot of green practices. To summarize the ethos of Ecoville, there's a beautiful quote by Pico Iyer that I would love to share with you.
Sure.
With your permission, please.
Sure.
So I'll just read it out. It says, in an age of acceleration, nothing can be more exhilarating than going slow. And in an age of distraction, nothing is so luxurious as paying attention. And in an age of constant movement, nothing is so urgent as sitting still. So it's a lovely, lovely quote by Pico Iyer that all of us at Ecoville kind of relate to. And that's the whole ethos of Ecoville. So to tell you more, like you said, Ecoville is located right near the highway. So it's only 3 kilometers away from the Balewadi Stadium. So technically from Baner also it takes only 5 to 10 minutes to get to Ecoville. It's a lovely fruit-bearing orchard spread across 3.5 acres. And why it's very important to my family is because my mother has planted all these trees herself. So around 27 years ago, my father invested in this piece of property thinking that, on the outskirts of Pune, we should have like a small fruit-bearing orchard. Because Pune ended at University Circle, there was nothing beyond that. So Baner was just fruit orchards. And Malunge was not even known to people in Pune, honestly. But the way the city has expanded horizontally, now we have a 70-acre township on one side and 100 and some acre township on one side. So we have a lot of development that's happened around us. But we wanted to maintain the farm as is because my mother has planted all these trees, like I said. So the emotional value of the property is very, very high for us. So we grow a lot of different fruits basically here on the orchard. And we've been doing this for the last 27 years now. So there are 250 mango trees, 140 coconut trees, 80 odd chiku trees, and there's jamun, star fruit, passion fruit, guava, pomegranate, banana, papaya, and a lot of different herbs, spices, vegetables, and different flower-bearing varieties that we grow on the farm. So basically, if one has to visit Ecoville, even for kids, I think honestly, it's amazing to see the entire ecosystem around you, right? From birds, bees, butterflies, you're able to see like so much in this beautiful 3.5 acre property at Ecoville. And what we really do here is we've converted the family-owned farm into an art farm. So where we curate a lot of art and nature-centric experiences for different age groups. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is we do a lot of workshops for adults. The workshops include pottery, eco-printing, shibori, calligraphy, embroidery on leaf, painting, terrarium making, soap making, kombucha making, cheese appreciation. There's baking workshops. We also do date nights, which is one of our popular experiences. So we have couples that come over to make pottery and pizza and, spend some time outdoors. So those are the activities that we do in terms of art for adults. And apart from that, we also curate a lot of experiences for kids to be able to reconnect with nature and understand more about the ecosystem. So for kids as well, we do like a mango picking festival, which is inspired by the traditional strawberry picking festival in Mahabaleshwar.
Yes.
So we said, why not let kids enjoy the whole feeling of picking fruits from the trees? Because that's something that I think your and my generation, we've always done that.
Yes.
But kids these days, especially in the urban areas, it's very hard to find or have access to areas where you can actually climb on a tree, just play with dirt, pick mangoes from the trees. So we do a mango picking festival, which is our signature. Apart from that, we also did a lovely Easter egg hunt, which was amazing. We do a lot of festival retreats, like we do Halloween, Ganpati, Diwali, Christmas. But the special thing here is that, everything is eco-friendly. So when kids come to the farm, we talk about how can you celebrate an eco-friendly Christmas. So instead of decorating like a pine tree, which is not native to Pune, we actually decorate a native mango tree with Christmas ornaments. And our Christmas ornaments don't have anything that's plastic. We have something that's absolutely natural, reusable. So we hang a lot of ceramic ornaments. We hang a lot of planters. We hang a lot of metal bells and, things of that sort. So every experience that kids have on the farm is constantly talking about how we're very, very eco-friendly.
So if, this, what I hear obviously is a wonderful experience of love and joy that you are spreading at your own farm today. But as a kid, when you were growing up, when the farm was just happening, 25, 27 years back, as you said, you would have had some of your own personal memories of that place, right? And over the years, the memories have only kind of gotten enriched, is what I would like to believe. So, love to hear about your own growing as a part of Ecoville's growth itself.
Oh, definitely, Milan. So, not just for me, it's also for my family. It's our favorite place in the city. So we celebrate a lot of our birthdays, a lot of our festivals there. So, for example, even Raksha Bandhan this year with my cousins, because I have a large family, happened on the farm.
Wow.
So as kids as well, we would go there every Sunday with dabbas from home. And there's a lovely family that stays on the farm who would also cook like a very traditional rural meal for us with pitla, bhakri and all of that.
Wow.
And so that was us as kids. But I think because our lifestyles have changed drastically, right? We're all spending so much time on screen and in enclosed spaces that the importance and the awareness of being outdoors and spending more time in nature is very, very high now. So I think the importance of spending more time on the farm is more now than when we were kids. So my brother and I, my parents, like we all make it a point to go to the farm very often.
Very nice.
And because it's a family-owned farm, my mother is very actively involved in the maintenance of the entire place because she looks after all the trees and the plantation and all of that. My father obviously comes there every week to take care of the other maintenance stuff. And then I go there for Ecoville. So we all as a family spend so much time on the farm even now. And it's a very, very special place for all of us.
So, what I also hear from you, Rutuja, is not only this love for the soil or love for being close to trees, flowers, fruits, birds, bees, insects. In addition to that, you have combined the world of art with this. And you yourself have a passion for art, especially dance. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, so Ecoville is an art farm, and art and nature have a beautiful correlation, which is why we wanted to bring more of art to the farm. And like you said, yes, art has been a very, very important part of my life because I've taken several different dance style lessons. So I've done jazz, hip hop, modern dance, contemporary, ballet, belly dance. But Bharatnatyam has always been my forte. So I've learned Bharatnatyam for almost 27 years now. And I did my Arangetram in Bharatnatyam in 2010. So the Arangetram is like the graduating dance recital for any Bharatnatyam dancer. Uh, and it's a very special graduating performance. So for a lot of different dance schools, it's done differently. But my guru believes in a very traditional style of learning. So which is why she waited until I completed 17 years of dance education. And then I was supposed to do the dance recital solo, because a lot of other dancers do it in groups of like
Correct.
4, 10, or whatever. But in my case, I did the dance recital solo, and the talking or the explaining of the items before you dance was also done by me. So it was constant dance and talking for 3 hours. So I was almost preparing for my Arangetram for 2 years, Monday to Sunday, 3 to 4 hours every single day. So like dance has been such an important part of my life while growing up, even now, because it's something that I absolutely enjoy doing. So it's more like celebrating the ability to move with different activities that you can do with dance.
Formative years for all of us, Rutuja. I mean, those teenage years, let's put it this way, are, the what we call it as an impressionable age. For us, there's nothing right or wrong in the world. Everything is nothing but an experience to live by, experience to engage with, an experience to explore. And we accept anything and everything that comes our way. For example, as a kid, I used to love cycling, and at every moment, wherever I would just take a cycle, and wherever I go, whether in the city of Mumbai, where I kind of grew up, and of course now in Pune, where I live. But I my grandparents, my roots are in Gujarat. My nana nani,
Oh,
used to be
wow.
in Baroda, and so the 70s of Baroda is where I kind of used to spend my summer holidays, and just renting a cycle at 2 rupees a day, or I think 1 rupee
Oh, wow.
50 paisa a day, something like that. Half a day was like 1 rupee, and then if you want to have the full day, you pay another 50 paisa more. And so
Oh,
those
wow.
were the years of freedom for all of us. And I think you also had a very interesting high school experience in the US, which also has
Oh,
left
yes.
a big mark on you. Am I right? I mean, living with foster
Definitely,
families there,
sir.
and uh,
Oh, it
how
was a
was
lovely
that?
experience. It's actually one of my favorite years, actually, because
How old were
so
you
I
then?
went there for an exchange program.
How old were
I
you
was
then?
16.
Okay,
So I went there as an exchange student, and in the exchange program, there are short-term exchanges and long-term exchanges. So I opted
correct.
for the long-term because I wanted to spend an entire year and go to school, because that was
Okay.
my main thing. So I lived with two different host families. One of them was a single mom and a daughter, which was a great experience. And then the second one was very different from the first one. It was like a large Catholic family with 4 kids and a dog and my parents, and it was such a lovely experience. I went to school. I graduated high school from there. I got an honorary diploma from my school.
Where
I
was that?
also participated in
Where was
it was
that?
in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I also was a part of the high school musical, because that's a fancy affair that happens every year for every high
Yes.
school in the US. So
Yes.
to be selected for one is like, a fun thing. Like, you're super excited about being a part of the whole troupe. And then I was a dancer in the musical. And if you know, there's a musical called Fame, which is very, very popular.
Uh-huh.
So we did Fame that year.
Wow.
And then I also ran winter track. I also was a part of a dance club where I learned ballroom dancing. And as an exchange student, we would travel a lot because we would have monthly trips to different places. And then we also did a really long US tour at the end, where we traveled to 32 states.
Wow.
And the US tour was with 140 other exchange students from other countries. So there was amazing exchange of like culture and, so many things that you could learn from each other. So it was one of the best years that I absolutely like miss. And I'm still in touch with my host family, which is very, very special. They'd come down to India as well. And every time I go to the US, I visit them. And we were a family. Like we would, eat together, say grace together. And there's so much that I've learned from all of them. And the kids who were then like 3 to 10 are now all, in their 20s and teens. So I'm still in touch with them. It's a lovely feeling to stay connected.
So, diversity and adventure is something that happens to all of us at those impressionable age. And you're so fortunate to have had this not only with this wonderful family here in India, with your own farm, which is now turned into a beautiful project called the Ecoville, but you also had this beautiful experience in the US with your local foster family, where this travel across the US would have given you glimpses of adventure. Any particular
Absolutely.
place or experience that is still fresh in your memory wherever you traveled extensively, you said, in those days?
So Milind, yes, for the exchange program as well. But even after that, when I stayed in the US for my MBA, I did my MBA in real estate and I lived in New York. My friends and I would travel extensively. And, when you live with your friends, they become family.
Correct.
And the best part about the whole experience was that, we were all constantly looking for opportunities to attend concerts and conferences and travel for like fun adventure sports. So we've done a lot of like camping, skydiving, ice skating, sledding, kayaking, rafting. So as friends, we would constantly make all these plans to, experience different things in New York and go for workshops and all of that. So, so even the exchange year plus my, masters and my years when I was working in the US, we've constantly made it a point to travel constantly to different places to explore more. And I remember especially going to Pennsylvania very often because they have some amazing camping grounds and they have some amazing ice skating that happens there and skydiving and all of that. So a lot of adventure sports actually happens in Pennsylvania. So we would travel to Pennsylvania very often because also it's a neighboring state,
Correct.
Very close to NYC.
Growing up with Indian culture at one side at home with your large and extended family here in India, and yet having an experience of local foster parents in the US, and of course you did your master's there in real estate. How do you compare and contrast these two cultures, the US and the Indian culture, and what have you drawn from both of them?
Oh, wow, lovely. Very interesting question. I think the exchange program was amazing because there's a literal exchange. Because when I lived with my host family, there was a lot about the Indian culture that I would talk to them about, and they would get really fascinated with how things work in India and how we look at certain things. And India, in that way, is still very traditional compared to some of the beliefs that the Americans have. And at the same time, I was also watching how my host siblings were being raised, and things that my host parents were constantly talking to them about or teaching them. So it was a lovely, I won't say a contrast, but there were some amazing things that I picked up from both places because I was also very young at that point.
Yes.
So along with the learnings that I went with from India, I think I came back with so much more when I came back as an exchange student. And I think that is the most special part was living with a family. So just being in the US is different, and living with a host family, with a local family, and then learning a part of their culture was amazing. And also, like I said, my family was Catholic, so I would go to Sunday mass with them, and it was amazing celebrating Lent. And Lent is something that I'd never heard of, or even Easter, the Easter egg hunt, or Christmas, or all of that, like Thanksgiving and Halloween and all of that.
Did you do fasting during Lent? Did you fast during the Lent?
Yeah, so we gave up on something. There was one thing that we had to quit for the days, and I did one of those things. It was very cute because, like I said, we had host siblings and we would all discuss and do things together. So it was lovely.
And how was the MBA experience in real estate? Because I know your family is into real estate and land development projects for more than 3 decades. And of course, that apart from being, running in your blood, but taking a professional education, I mean, what motivated you to pick that stream of education, and that to the one that you did at New York?
So I always had a strong calling for real estate. So doing an MBA in real estate was something that I absolutely want to do. And very few colleges actually offer this course, the MBA in real estate. And New York was my dream location. So I picked Hofstra, which is in Long Island. But the learning was amazing. The inspiration, yes, came from home. But when I went to the US, it was an eye opener because real estate in the US is very, very different from the way it's done here. It's very structured, organized. A lot of things that don't even exist here, like title insurance or the way things function there, like the REITs, mortgages, the law there is different with real estate. So it was very interesting to learn everything there and then come back to India and, start with something here.
And you did work with one of the largest healthcare service provider in the New York City area. What was the role that you played, and what were your responsibilities there, and what is it you learned in that brief experience?
So the largest healthcare provider in the New York City, Long Island, and Westchester area is called. It's now called Northwell Health, but earlier it was called North for LIJ when I worked for them. And I was responsible for the finance side of asset management and the physical assets department. And the company had more than 350 properties in New York in that area. So the 350 properties were also some really, really large hospitals and clinics and all of that. So it was lovely to be a part of this amazing team where we actually managed the entire operations for these large facilities, and especially the finance side of the physical assets. So it was very interesting to learn so much about how these large, buildings are taken care of and large things operate.
And that experience also, got you your first experiences of land development projects here in India.
So I always wanted to start something of my own, and the whole. I was super excited about starting something, on my own from scratch. So, which is why I decided to come back to India, and I started working with my family business initially. But I also did 3 real estate projects on my own, and 2 of those were land development projects. So you would popularly call it plotting in Pune. So I did 2 plotting projects again under the same umbrella of Ecoville. So they were still based on the whole community farming or being organic or growing your own food forest kind of concept. And I did 2 of those. So one was called Ecoville Iris and one was called Ecoville Aster. And Milind, honestly, I was super, happy and surprised to see the response from our audience, because everyone who booked or purchased a plot in those plotting projects is still farming on that, farming on the plot that they bought. And even the common space that we've handed over again has a very beautifully done organic farm. So right from say herbs and spices and vegetables and fruits, there's so much that this project offers. So we also put in a lot of thought in terms of how we wanted the landscape to be done, because we wanted it to be very eco-friendly. So instead of having just any ornamental plants or trees or shrubs or palm trees, we wanted to have it that's edible. So along the roads as well, like the common roads, we have tulsi, we have aloe vera, we have lemongrass, we have lemon balm, we have basil, so we have a lot of different edible varieties of herbs that are planted right along the streets. And even the common areas have beautiful farming facility. And what I really like is, even though we've handed over the project now, it's been a few years, these residents who've actually bought these plots are still farming there. And they always stay in touch with us and talk about how happy they are with the whole thing. Because it's a little on the outskirts of Pune. So they all live in Pune and then drive down on the weekends and go get their produce and harvest. And it's a lovely feeling for the kids also to see their food growing, to be able to grow your own food. There's a lovely connection between that, to know how farming is done, to see the effort that one has to put in, to wait patiently to see, like a small vegetable grow, and then to be able to consume it. So the kids also develop a lovely relation with the food that they're eating. So everyone who's purchased plots there is like super happy and impressed with the whole concept, which I'm really happy about.
Absolutely. You take a bow for what you've done there, but
thank you.
You are also a member of the Confederation of Real Estate Developers Association of India, CREDAI. And I was looking up at the CREDAI's website in terms of what does CREDAI stand for. And I'm going to read out this line from their website as is to you. It says the Confederation of Real Estate Developers Association of India, CREDAI, is the apex body of private real estate developers in India, established in 1999, with a vision of transforming the landscape of Indian real estate and a mandate to pursue the cause of housing and habitat. Unquote. And when I looked at the executive council of CREDAI, the entire governing council, state presidents, youth wing, most of them are men. And of course, real estate in India especially is so dominated with men for a cause which in many ways sounds very feminine, which is the cause of housing and habitat.
Yes. So, Milind, like you rightly said, yes, real estate still is a male-dominant industry, I would say. But we do have a lot of second generation women coming in. For example, like, my father started the business and I'm a part of the business now. Similarly, there are many friends that I have who are in real estate now, who are heading their father's businesses very, very successfully. And there are also wives of developers who are now coming in. Because like you rightly said, yes, real estate and CREDAI has been operational for really long, but very few women participated in, all these CREDAI activities. But we have a lot of now women participating because the real estate industry definitely needs a softer touch that only a woman can bring. Because there is a perception about a builder and a real estate developer, and I'm sure you're aware of how people look at developers.
Yes.
But it is very important for redressals to be handled very properly and politely. And the perception is now changing because a lot of women are heading their businesses and taking care of very, very important departments in their organization. So it's not just the softer sides like, facing the client and all of that, but we also have a lot of women who are now engineers and architects and CAs who are very, very successfully handling those departments independently in their organizations. And I know so many of those now. So there has been a major shift. Traditionally, it wasn't that, but today what we see of real estate is very, very different. And my friend and I actually, we started the women's wing together and drafted the charter for the women's wing at the national level for the first time many years ago. And it was a lovely opportunity to be on, the committee.
So, in addition to this, passionate project that you're leading and you are executing, the world of adventure and world of sports also beckons you in some form or the other. You were telling me when we spoke last, and you are these days practicing for your first triathlon.
Oh, yes. So, Milind, I've been a dancer all my life. That's still a very important part of me, but I definitely wanted to work on other dreams that I have. And triathlon is the new goal that I have that I'm aiming for. And the journey so far has been amazing. It's been a few months, but it's super satisfying. And it is hard work, obviously, but the satisfaction that I get after every single training session, every single day is amazing. Like I totally look forward to it. So I go to bed pretty early every night and I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I leave from home at 5:30 when it's pitch dark and we start training at like 5:45 or 6 o'clock at Balivadi Stadium. And we see the sunrise every single day when we're training or working out. And it's an amazing feeling to, kind of get closer to your goal every single day with the progress that you're making. So, and I'm working with this amazing team. My coach is from Germany, so he has this amazing technique of getting things done from us. So that's something I'm absolutely enjoying. It's super satisfying.
In this conversation, I have explicitly or otherwise have heard this word called goal in much of what you have said. And if I look at the bucket of goals that you seem to have consciously or otherwise crafted for yourself, the broad buckets that I look at is, obviously there is career or financial goals that, that are very rightfully there for somebody at your age and stage in life. But with the Ecoville, farm project of yours, there are social goals, there are educational goals that you are also chasing for yourself, for others, and with your physical, triathlon kind of, pursuits, there are physical goals. So it seems to be like one big wheel.
Oh, I would love to share this, Milind. So I'm constantly looking for workshops and different seminars and courses that I can attend to learn more, because learning is a constant process, and I think it gives me a lot of joy to learn something new constantly. So a few years ago, I did this course called it's a leadership management course basically, and it talks about the wheel of life. And it focuses on the balance in the 6 areas of your life, which are very important. And it's like a tire, you can't have a puncture anywhere. Like, it has to function really well. So you have to have all 6 areas of your life taken care of, or you need to focus on all 6 areas to create a good balance in your life for your overall well-being. And the 6 different areas here are, there's financial and career, which is one, and I spoke about Ecoville in my career in real estate. Then there's family and home, and I would definitely say I'm a very family-oriented person. Family comes first for sure. Then there's mental and educational. So it talks about how everyone needs to invest some time in learning something new constantly, which I absolutely believe in. And that's something that I'm constantly striving for. I'm constantly striving for different things that I can learn, not just career-wise or education-wise, but even otherwise, like, art forms, dance, or anything. Like, I learned scuba diving recently and got a certification course. So I think just learning of any sort is amazing and is something super satisfying to me. Apart from that, there is physical and health, which is one thing that you need to focus on. I think the triathlon training is doing that really well for me. Then there's social and cultural, and then there's spiritual and religious. So these are the 6 areas that one needs to look into. And I think personally, I am trying to make an effort to focus on all these 6 and at least have some effort or time dedicated to each one of these in my daily routine. So I'm on purpose trying to invest, energy and time in all of these, and it really feels good.
And this wheel of life, as you beautifully call it, it seems that for you, this wheel seems to be in a perpetual motion. And drawing on that idea, I have a song for you, if you allow me to play it.
Oh, wow, that sounds lovely. Yes, I would love to hear it.
Here it goes, and we'll take it from there.
चला चल रही यूं ही चला चल रही कितनी हसीन है ये दुनिया फूल सारे झमेले देख फूलों के मेले बड़ी रंगीन है ये दुनिया रुम दुम दाना रत दुम दाना रुम दुम दाना रत दुम दाना रुम दुम दाना रत दुम दाना भैया रास्ता है कह रहा अब मुझसे, मिलने को है कोई कहीं अब तुझसे। ये रास्ता है कह रहा अब मुझसे, मिलने को है कोई कहीं अब तुझसे। दिल को है क्यों ये बेताबी, किससे मुलाकात होनी है, जिसका कब से अरमा था शायद वही बात होनी है।
यूं ही चला चल रही, यूं ही चला चल रही, जीवन गाड़ी है समय पहिया। आंसू की नदियां भी हैं, खुशियों की बगियां भी हैं, रास्ता सब तेरा तक है भैया।
यूं ही चला चल रही, यूं ही चला चल रही, कितनी हसीन है ये दुनिया।
What a lovely song, Milind. Amazing find. I can totally relate to this. Like, honestly, I just loved it. Like, listening to the song, it's amazing.
Yeah, for me.
Because there's so much to do in life and very little time. My list is so long, like my bucket list of things to do and things that I want to learn and places I want to go, the travel plans, exploring things, the different experiences that I would like to indulge in. It's such a long list, and I honestly feel there's not enough time in one's lifetime to experience everything that you want to. So I love this song. I mean, I can totally personally relate to this.
So all I can say, यूं ही चला चल रही, यूं ही चला चल, कितनी हसीन है ये दुनिया.
Lovely, Milind. I think it was a wonderful experience just chatting with you and sharing my journey so far, and the plans that I have and everything that I've done so far. It was just an amazing experience to share everything with you. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show. It really means a lot. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much. Wish you good luck. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you, Milind. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75@gmail.com. Thank you.